What's up, everybody? It's Michael or Penguinos007 here today with my buddies.
Yeah, the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, what's your boy, Devin?
And Nightcrawler, what's up, everyone?
And we're here today to react to Nux Taku's the 50 biggest overkills in anime. Anyone have any thoughts before we go into this? Do you have any ideas of what will show up into this?
Luffy was a
Yes.
maybe.
Luke?
If Conscious Hero is not in this one, I will be very disappointed.
I'm sure that one is. What about Goblin Slayer?
I don't know.
How about Goblin Slayer with a scroll?
That might work, yeah. Then there's Monster Caro from Yu-Gi-Oh! That's all I'm gonna say about that one.
Let's just jump into it.
Overkills in anime.
We'll
Go
be
back
skipping
to my
those
roots
ones.
talking about things that I love, and it's never felt better. I asked you guys on Twitter to send me the biggest overkill moments in anime, where the character just goes ham and goes way harder than he needed to, and you guys didn't disappoint. And then some of you did disappoint and were like, oh, that hentai where they stopped time and then all the girls got. Let's talk about the 50 biggest overkill moments in anime. Leave a like because 20,000 likes and I will do part 2. Shanks meets Whitebeard. This is a huge.
Should I skip this one?
That's spoilers for me watching One Piece.
That's semi-spoilers for me, but I've seen this clip already.
So, Devin, you want me to skip? It's
Do
not that
you-
much. It really isn't.
It's Sinks, so it's literally Sinks. It's going to be like
Shanks.
1 minute of Sinks, but Sinks never.
It's
So
Shanks and his hockey. That's basically it.
yeah, he uses Conquest Hockey. This
Moment. Okay, this is 2 emperors we're talking about. We've never really even talked about emperors but this point in the story. Shanks walks onto Whitebeard's ship to meet him, but here's why it's overkill. He uses his Conqueror's hockey to knock out Whitebeard's whole crew. To this day, I still don't know why he really needed to do that. They weren't exactly enemies at the point. They were just going to meet up and talk a little bit. All
They
the
were
lackeys
chilling.
on Whitebeard's ship, they weren't going to do anything. He did not need to wipe them out, but he did. Why? For the heck of it? I don't know. But he did, and I respect it tremendously. Next, overkill
It didn't even show it, man.
moment. I'm talking about
acting
assassination
solid
classroom.
sometimes.
Kuro Sensei is this dude who's incredibly fast. He can go 20 times the speed of sound. He can regenerate. He has every power in the book. And he threatens the government that he'll destroy the planet if he doesn't teach a school class in high school. Listen, it's
Fair
a
enough.
plot that can only exist in anime, but no one's complaining because it was amazing. He blew up 70% of the moon to
Facts.
get his point across.
Ooh,
The
Pissed
dude can
on the
move 20
moon.
times the speed of sound. We've established this. All right. He's flying circles around fighter jets while they're flying. He's
Oh
a
shit.
massive threat
did?
to every single person on the planet. Everyone knows how dangerous he is, but he still had to blow up 70% of the moon to get his point across.
Why'd
This
you
is
have to
a
do that, though?
huge overkill, in my opinion, and it definitely established this man as a Giga Chad, I do have to say. Next overkill moment, Kaneki.
you don't have spoilers yet.
Yeah, this man's watching Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah, I knew it.
That's not gonna work. Go
About
back
the
5.
Goblin Slayer.
I knew it was
Listen,
Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer is an anime that Twitter did not like at all, and therefore it was an anime that I liked a lot. Mostly because of how much I dislike Twitter, and I'm an anarchist in the fact that I always root for stuff that Twitter hates. Goblin Slayer is a story about a dude who
Damn.
slays goblins. I know. Pretty basic, straightforward
Whoa.
stuff. He'll go into these goblin hiding holes and he will brutally murder every single goblin he finds. It doesn't matter. Adults, children, whether they surrender, whether they give up, whether they're alone, whether they have no chance, whether they have a family. None of it matters to the Goblin Slayer. He will go out there and he will eviscerate all of them in the most brutal and underhanded methods possible. He'll throw gas bombs and fire bombs and he'll just start slaughtering them. He is a top level dude, crazy hunter, but he doesn't take the hard quests. No. He does not like goblins. So he will use all of his mastery and all of his power to take the easy goblin slaying quests because he likes watching them scream or something. I don't know. It's a bit overkill in my opinion, but that's why it's here and I love it so much. Next, I'm talking about Pokemon. That's right,
Oh.
Pokemon. I'm talking about in the Sinnoh League when Ash is trying to actually win and trying to be cool and be like, oh my god, I'm gonna be the very best, the best there ever was. And he goes through Sinnoh and everything's fine. He has a pretty good team. He finally beats his rival Paul in probably the greatest Pokemon battle in the Pokemon anime. He goes up against Tobias, all right? And she's there with his little stinky guys, his little stinky starters that are unevolved to be like,
okay.
oh yeah, look, it's a Turtwig. You'll never defeat Turtwig. Look how little Turt and Twiggy he is. Bias comes out here with a Darkrai and a Latios and
fucking
absolutely
Dark
obliterates his
Latios.
butthole. Oh
Jesus
my
Christ, this man
God.
Gets fucking got
Next
paid to win.
overkill I wanted to talk
Flexing.
about is Aaron
You pay to win
Yeager
the view.
performing a bit of rumbling.
Censorship because of copyright.
Alright.
Yeah, this is gonna be a manga spoiler, so I'm not really gonna talk about it in detail. But I feel like that
manga.
there
Did
didn't
I
need
skip or not?
Haven't seen it, right?
to be that many casualties. Next overkill, I wanted to talk about Itachi Uchiha from Naruto. This
guess-
man is pretty badass. He goes through the world and
Kakashi.
everyone bows to his
It's
wings.
Kakashi.
When Itachi first infiltrates the Leaf Village in like
Hell,
episode
he has a
80 or
couple.
whatever of the original Naruto, okay? And we all know at this point, spoilers, that he was a double agent. He was really working for the Leaf all along. He etc. etc. He uses Infinite Tsukuyomi on Kakashi and traps him in his own mind to be stabbed again and again and again for what feels like 72 hours to him. And you see him suffering and sweating and bleeding everywhere. He did not need to do Kakashi so dirty. Why did he need to do that to him? Next overkill, I wanted to talk about Excalibur from Soul Eater. Excalibur is an incredibly annoying character. Someone so annoying that no one wants to partner with him, even though he has limitless power. And it's so hilarious watching him join people, work with them for just a little bit, and they'll overpower all their enemies. Every fight will result in an overkill because of the immense power Excalibur holds. But he's just so annoying, it's not worth it for anyone. This is the best gimmick on this entire list of overkills in anime, I do have to say. Next, I wanted to talk about the scene from Ghost in the Shell. This was purely your submission. I wouldn't have remembered this at all. It's been way too long. But this is known as the big gun scene. After Makoto is on the ground and fighting this giant robot, and it looks like all is lost, she gets help from the side. Someone comes with this massive gun on like a turret on a truck, starts shooting the robot guy, and this gun is huge. Like, the recoil is insane. Makoto's pissed. So she goes to the truck, she takes the massive gun in her hands, walks to the giant robot that's already on the floor, the guy's toast, and proceeds to shoot this robot corpse again and again and again with a massive, like, tank-sized gun. This was overkill, and it was incredibly badass. The next scene I wanted to talk about was from Black Clover. I wanted to talk about best girl by far. She
We're about to watch that. We
stand a pride and
Yeah.
ReZero.
Uh-oh.
It's in the second
not
season.
that.
He has these weird tea
Is that
parties with
shit?
all these witches.
Oh, yeah,
Every
he
witch
gets
has their own
fucked.
personality and they're all
He gets
like
fucked.
nutcases,
Not
which
the
means
weird
that they are
We're gonna show
prime
another
waifus,
season
if you
two
know what
of
I'm
that.
talking about. He meets
Oh, I
up
know
with
some
this
things.
witch.
That's a kid
She's
now,
a
let's go.
lolly, which means she's terrifying. Every lolly in anime is gonna eat your face or something. And he shakes her hand and she pulls his hand off. She says, "I want to see if you're a
Whoops.
good person. So if you're a bad person, you'll feel pain." So she rips his arm off, and he doesn't feel pain, but his arm's missing. So she's like, "Oh, well, it looks like you're a good person." She ripped his arm off. But then she says, "Maybe, let's see, maybe you're not such a good person." So she rips his leg off. And then she basically disintegrates him and turns him to like a pile of mush. He's an eyeball on the floor at this point, and all of his limbs are all over the place. And he's screaming. Well, he was screaming until his jaw was ripped off. Anyway, the point is, this was definitely overkill and definitely established this lolly as an absolute terror. And once again, confirming my theory that every lolly will either get you imprisoned by the FBI or get you murdered in a gruesome fashion. This is one of those overkill moments that I can't really describe to you. It's one that I have to show to you. I may be a rap god. I may be one of the top 10
Oh, God.
MMA
Oh, yeah,
that
days,
was-
but I'm not as
yeah.
fast as
Yeah.
Gojo slapping
got
the
beat the shit out of
ever-loving
him. Yeah.
crap out of Junpei in Jujutsu Kaisen, that movie.
Jujutsu
God,
Kaisen.
just
You see him without his tight
it's
hand on?
there was
see his actual
Junpei
eyes?
before this started,
Actually
and when it
trying.
ended, there was no more Junpei. There didn't need to be this little Junpei left for the fight to be victorious. Anyway, talking about smartphone isekai, I know I didn't want to ever talk about this anime because it's
Fuck you.
like one of the worst shows that ever existed. It's about a dude who dies and he gets sent to heaven, and God's like, "Listen, you weren't supposed to die now, so I'm gonna transfer to an alternate universe, and
Wait,
in this other world, you can take one thing from your regular world with you." And the guy's like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna take a smartphone." So he goes to this alternate world with a magic
Noah
smartphone that never
Silvers.
needs to be charged and has internet access or something, and he uses it to woo bitches that he can like bake cakes with cake recipes online. Crazy stuff, I know. And he proceeds to fight a massive war against a complete army, and then he clicks the lightning app on his phone, and a lightning storm
The
comes
nuke
down and
app?
wipes out the entire army. Look, I'm not gonna say it was good, but I am gonna say it was overkill. Now, I have an extremely similar
It is
scene that I
overkill.
want to tell you about, except it's great. and it's Rimuru the
Oh,
slime from
yes.
the Slime Isekai
Good
anime.
one.
Doing
Good
basically
one.
the same thing, except in extreme badass fashion. Raining down little slime
Yeah.
needle arrow thingies on an
The slime
entire
bullets
city,
were
and an
mo-
entire army gets wiped out. Anyway, we move on to another protagonist that is sort of an isekai.
I'm
And I
not
will
gonna.
say it was
That's definitely fun.
It's fate.
fixed to
Okay.
his ear, and the
Oh,
very
yes.
famous gif of him flying next to some enemy dude and snapping next to his ear, and then the snap destroys his eardrums and makes him lose the fight, which was definitely a big flex. But not the overkill I'm talking about. At the end of season 1, he has a gun. And he doesn't actually
Oh,
use it.
yeah!
The gun. What is that? A
Trigger,
small
and he
pistol?
takes out an entire fleet of ships.
He nukes
Now,
it. He
to
nukes
establish
it.
what I'm talking
Nice.
about, they were building up this threat of this massive fleet of ships
It's
invading
got-
for a while. And he just kind of just waltzes in there, picks up a gun, he's like, "Alright," boop, and the entire fleet gets wiped out. He could have
He has
killed a
damn
couple
sacks
of
on
them.
that fucking
He could have
bill.
maybe made them scared. No. He's going to eviscerate an entire fleet of ships because he can. Alright, the next flex I want to talk about is not really a flex in as much as it is an overkill. Overkill, I guess, taken
that record-
extremely literally, is when someone's killed, and then they keep
I want to see
blasting.
Madara on this list.
This would be
that's a tough one,
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
You know, that bad guy in
It's
Bleach, whatever.
two,
His name is
honestly.
not pronounced.
Is that record of
Him
Yeah.
against
Folding
Yamamoto.
the whole
It was a
army,
great fight.
folding
I
the
loved it.
fuck
I did a
army.
whole reaction to his
the
fight on
moon.
stream, which is now on my
The
channel.
moon and then the
Definitely check
Susanoo.
it out. It was pretty great. I was losing it watching that thing get animated. God damn! Bleach went on hiatus for 10 years,
What's
purely
Bleach?
so that whole
This is
10
new
years
Bleach
worth of
season.
budget could go into that one
Damn.
fight of
Yeah, look at this shit.
versus Yamamoto.
Christ.
And it was amazing.
Woo!
But anyway, after beating Yamamoto, the man
20
did not
years
need to
hiatus.
atomize
We're
his
back,
corpse
boys.
with like millions of laser arrows. He
Oh,
was
this is the
already
berserk
dead.
treatment
Why
we
you
wish
gotta
we
do
got.
him so dirty? Once we're already in that topic, in that vein, the
Oh,
next
yeah.
overkill I wanted to talk
The
about was
classic.
Trunks versus
Kevin doesn't know this
Frieza.
one,
I
does
say
he?
versus Frieza, but it was just kind of Trunks popping out there, slicing him in half.
So as the
slicing
villain
him
of
into a bunch
Lost
pieces,
Ark,
and then
getting
that
one
wasn't
shot.
enough. He then had to laser blast all those pieces into atoms and particles. It's the same concept that
And
it's
then-
like, but why go so far? Next thing I wanted to talk about is a bit
Yes.
more of a meme. Machio getting serious from the cute
Yeah.
moe workout anime thing.
It's funny because she fought her friend and instantly beat her. And they're like, have you ever arm wrestled before? No.
I don't remember exactly what it's called. It's all the cute girls
And
going to
you
the
have
gym, working out. Briggs liked
Muscle
it
Man.
because he's a simp.
I see you.
And Machio is this dude.
His muscles
who's
look bigger
really
than his
red.
hand.
He
I'm
looks
out.
normal
I'm
in
out.
his shirt, but then he flexes his muscles and all his clothes explode. So he actually goes serious arm wrestling once, and he wipes out like a stadium. I remember seeing that clip. I didn't get this far in the anime, but I definitely do think it was overkill. Next clip I wanted to talk about was
Ooh, Yu-Gi-Oh!
from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Zane Truesdale's final battle.
Oh, yeah,
against
Zane.
Evil Jesse Anderson.
He pulls out the
I know it's
combo.
almost like the Marvel gimmick where every single time they have a hero and they need to do a sequel, they're like,
I don't know. Who should I make a bad guy for the sequel? I don't know. Maybe Ant-Man should fight evil Ant-Man.
here we got evil Jesse Anderson versus Zane, and it was pretty epic. Zane knew this was his last game, his heart was given out, and he definitely went all out with the overkill. Summoned the strongest monster he could, he doubled its attack, and then doubled and doubled and doubled its attack again and again and again to create the most terrifying, largest attack creatic you've ever
What's
seen,
that attack?
and
Oh,
absolutely
Jesus.
scared the living crap out of evil Jesse. It was really cool and really badass and a really powerful moment all in all. He definitely went harder
Dude had
than
like
he
a
needed to,
50,000
and he put
attack
more
monster
strain on
on
his
the
heart
field.
than he needed to.
Like, what the
Next
hell?
clip, once we were talking about the meat entries, I wanted to get them
Ooh.
all out of the way. The potato chip scene from Death Note. Now, why did
potato
he
chip was
eat the
overkill.
chip so coolly? Why did he have to change chip eating in society? Why did the world need to change and look at how to ingest potato crisps because of this man on a murdering spree? You know the one. I'll take a potato chip and eat it. See, to nut all over the table. Yeah, that was the Death Note scene. It was definitely overkill. Listen, man, you had him fooled. You didn't need to eat the potato chip and freaking bust all over. The busting was not necessary. But I digress. The next overkill moment I wanted to talk
Is
about
every
was
Megumin.
from Konosuba.
Megumin.
We all know and love Megumin, right? Megumin's the best character. A lot of
Megumin's
people
best
say,
character.
no, the blue
Best
thing or the
character,
yellow
period.
thing are better. Guys, it's all about Megumin. I'm so disappointed.
Wasn't the
by
movie
all of
literally
you.
about Megumin?
And then all of you are
Yeah,
gonna
it
say,
was.
"Hey, maybe she's a lolly,"
Point.
but not for lewd purposes. Just because she's awesome, and she put all of her powers into just one explosion spell because she likes blowing crap up, and she has the ability to just blow crap up. She doesn't know how to make her explosions weaker. She doesn't know how to make her other spells. She doesn't know how to do anything. All she knows how to do is put all of her magic energy into one explosion, And you're probably thinking that's a one-trick pony. It's one gimmick. But it's always funny.
It works.
Every single time. And
Hey,
she
the
loves
knife
doing
almost
it
fell.
so much. It's
Yeah, walk.
the isekai equivalent of nutting. She'll go to this abandoned castle just so she can blow up this abandoned castle. It's abandoned, but she will launch this insane, massive
Oh, so
explosion
obscene.
on the abandoned castle and blow the
so obscene.
ever-loving crap out of it. Oh, no, 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 I'm not done. So she does that day after day after day after day. Eventually, this evil demon knight guy, who's some general of the demon emperor, he shows up and he's like, all right, guys, listen, let me explain something to you. I was outposted here, but someone keeps raining down explosions at my castle every day, and I don't, it's driving me crazy, please, anything but that.
Please,
Stop
let's
it,
stop.
please. And it's beautiful. I love it so much. The overkill paid off, and every single explosion that she does is so beautiful. It's like one of those kids shows, except instead of clapping along with the main character or counting along with Dora the Explorer, you're nutting at the same time she does. We got another Bleach one, ladies and gentlemen.
Bleach.
I'm talking about Holified Ichigo versus Ukiura.
Also known as the
Minor
main character
loses-
clapped again.
Exactly.
What is this?
For stake by easy power. It's an still gives me chill. A show that potentially absolutely an overkill. Next, we got Reiner Loot from a show that potentially has the best name of any anime of all time, Legend of the Legendary Heroes. And Reiner Loot has this crazy power. It's an eyeball power called the Alpha Stigma. And if he uses the Alpha Stigma, he is known as incredibly dangerous to everyone around him. Now, I don't want to actually spoil anything that goes on because it was a pretty good anime. I'm not going to say it was amazing or legendary, but Legend of the Legendary Heroes was pretty good. Reiner loses control over his little Alpha Sigma thingy and wipes out an army in the most brutal way possible. The crazy thing is, Reiner Loot's a nice guy. He's like this nice, chill dude. Everything's gonna work out. He goes
Sure.
around and he makes jokes, and then he loses control and wipes out an army.
the Hulk and killed
Yeah,
him.
I think we're seeing a trend here.
He's activating a
It was
strong
too
gun.
much. He goes from like a nice little goofball to the literal devil in an instant. And speaking of the literal devil, oh, nice segue there, Nux and Orcel 5. We're talking about Mao
Yes!
from Devil's a Part-Timer
Yes!
teaching Lucifer
I
a lesson.
love this
Devil's a
scene.
Part-Timer is a story about the devil who gets
Gabe,
transported
it's
to
the
the regular
thing.
human world.
Gabe, it's the thing. It's the Satan.
What thing?
It's the Lucifer
It's
thing.
Lucifer versus
It's
Satan.
Yeah.
Doesn't have that much
Is
of
that
his
Fallen
energy
Sun?
actually
Good stuff.
usable at this point. And in this human world, they get the job at McDonald's. It's very funny. It's actually pronounced McRonald's to avoid copyright. I understand avoiding copyright. In fact, this video probably won't be around for very long because of copyright. Anyway, Lucifer shows up, about to destroy him, and he's extremely powerful, and he's like, ha, you don't have much of your powers left. You're not going to be able to defeat me. And then he makes an explosion so big you can see it from outer space and turns Lucifer into a pile of bones. He doesn't kill him.
Boy, I'm dead.
Lucifer, in fact, is defeated so badly that he pledges allegiance to him and apologizes for rebelling against him. And Mao is so confident that the ass beating was good enough, that his apology was so genuine. He's
Hey,
like, all
hey,
right, you
hey,
can be
hey.
like one of my closest confidants now. There's no way you're
That's
ever
little
gonna rebel
buff
against
spells
me
on
and
that
the ass
punch.
whooping I just gave you. And he's loyal to this day. Wow. Now that is an overkill, and it was just great. I loved it so much. The next
hit him so
overkill
hard he
I wanted
turned
to
into
talk
a
about
meat.
was Luffy
Spoiler.
punching.
You want to see it? It's the
I
best
want-
one.
This is literally probably my favorite moment of One Piece so far.
I've seen it. Devon DKO is just a good punch thing.
Let's go.
He's not gonna understand.
He won't understand
But
it.
think
He's
about-
fine.
So this guy, he's about to
Gets turned
punch,
into manga.
is literally the worst, lowest person in One Piece. Lowest of the low.
A
The scum.
douchebag. I know.
He's gonna- Luffy's about to turn this guy into
I know what I'm
manga.
talking about. I'm talking about Luffy punching a celestial dragon in One Piece. Celestial dragons, they are this very high-level race
They're the
people. They are the
government.
ones that control everyone. They're these very pompous pricks that think they own the world. They're basically the 1% of Americans. And Luffy just basically walks up to one of them and wallops him in the face. And he causes a massive war, and lots of people probably die off screen, and
I'll just
it's
punch.
very bad for everybody. He almost loses his entire crew. A lot of people have to run away. An entire island basically
And the guy he punches has no powers. He's just a regular person
With a gun.
with a gun.
What?
He hits him so hard. I mean, because the problem is, if you attack a celestial dragon, it summons admirals to that island to hunt you down.
Does it actually
wiped out.
conjure
But
them?
aside from all that,
Or
though,
does it like
it's 'cause
work out?
there
They
is an
punch one.
admiral. There's the Marineford's right next door, so
Yeah.
they just get an alert and They send Kizaru, who just teleports. So
Punch was really good, though. Listen, consequences aren't.
Easy sum, it doesn't believe
but
that's
the
sum.
punch was fire. Anyway, we keep going. We
Yeah!
have Saitama.
Anything he
literally-
does.
Oh, yeah,
You're
this
probably wondering
fight.
why it's not higher. And then
Anything he does, but this was probably the best
It's not
overkill.
really overkill
Yeah,
if he
one of the
can't
best.
control it. Like, he'll go up against somebody and he'll just punch him normally. And yes, it's overkill because he turns him into meat and bones flying around. Or when he fights Genos and he pulls his punch. But still pulling his punch wipes out an entire mountain pass.
Yeah.
Like, all these things, they're overkill. But I can't put this higher on the list because it's not like he did it for a purpose. It's not like he did it out of rage or to prove a point or any of these things. No, it's just he can't underkill people. That's literally his whole story.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just felt like putting it here and not further because for this exact reason. Now, the next character is here also, but for a slightly different reason. Yujiro Hanma from Baki. This man is an absolute monster.
Oh, Baki.
He
Baki.
stops earthquakes with a punch.
This is
But
the him.
The reason why he's an
About him.
overkill is because he defeats
He is
people
him.
in a fashion that
Yeah.
made him a security threat to the entire country when he shows up because of how he performs his martial arts. The way he'll beat people up to the point that they're not just dead, they'll regret they ever lived. The misery he causes is actually beautiful. But once again, similar to Saitama, he's so strong. The overkill moments don't really have that impact that the future ones on this list have because this man is just a walking terror to society. It's not fair. It's not fair. Next, I have on this list Gon versus Pito.
We can see his later.
Besides, I heard that was a really Dragon Ball.
Of mercy, and then
Yeah,
he just
Gales.
gets pissed off and wipes out the other half of the planet.
Yeah.
It's just very
He was
funny.
just being
Listen, it's not about scale. It's just about expressing
Doing his job.
yourself. And self-expression is really important. Never forget who you are, guys. That's right, guys. Don't forget who you are.
Bit too
The
much
next
grease
one
in
I
the
wanted
food,
to talk
half
about
time
is a
now.
man so strong, they don't even make fun of him because his name is Anus. I'm talking about Anus Vondigold. And everyone's gonna be like,
It's a
his name
noose.
is Anos, not Anus, bro. If you didn't make that
It's a
connection in
noose.
your head, you just don't have a thing for comedy. Literally. Get a job. This dude is so scary. He goes up against his opponents, snaps, and obliterates them. They're dead now. He uses resurrection magic to bring them back to life, so he could snap and kill them again. And he will keep doing this and keep bringing him back to life and killing him
hello,
back to life
necromancer.
and killing him. He just
Yeah,
needed to
he
kill
just-
him
he
once.
does not
He just
give a
needed
fuck.
to beat him once. But no.
It's a
no,
wizard.
no,
You
no.
think you could
He's
kill
gonna
me
keep
because you
bringing him
killed
back
me?
to life
Nah.
and killing him again
Yeah,
and again and
you
again
think- you
until
think
he
dying would
humiliates
kill
him
me?
to the point that he admits defeat and
You think
changes
I'd
all of
be
his
stopped
opinions about life.
in
This
time?
was
If you
definitely
stop time?
overkill.
No.
But it was so good, though. It was so good. Misfit of Demon Academy, listen, you're not an Emmy winner, okay? You're not going to win the Oscars, but you definitely gave me a chuckle. Before we do the top 10, you're probably thinking, top 10? You still have 19 left. Yes, before I do the top 10, I wanted to make a little tangent. You're probably going to hate me for this, but I don't really care, because enough people hate me at this point. What's another couple of thousand, right? Like, let's be honest. Okay, I couldn't narrow it down, so I had to include 9 of the top 50 overkills are from JoJo's. Listen, what can I do?
From JoJo's.
We got Giorno versus
That,
Diavolo.
that should have been high. That should have been one. That should have been one. Let's be honest here.
No.
No, the number 2 is the part 3, like 1 minute war, followed by the part 5, 3 minute war.
Yeah.
Dude, if you think of Overkill, he dies infinitely. There's nothing bigger than that.
But it's about the impact.
And then he punches him. He uses his epic no power, and he punches him to the point
No.
that he traps him in a different dimension. Next, from JoJo's Part 3, we got Kakyoin feeding poop to a baby. Yes, I know it's not exactly on the same tier as suffering someone to eternal misery. However, I would go as far as to say that it was just as glorious. Okay, you had this baby with a stand that invades your dreams, and they wanted to scare him a little bit. So what does Kakyoin do? He says, listen, baby, I'm sleeping. You can invade my dreams and kill me. However, and he takes a piece of poop and puts it in the baby's food, and then feeds the baby the poop food. The baby was terrified and obviously never invaded their dreams again. Listen, JoJo can only exist in the world of JoJo, but we're going to keep going up. Now, in Part 5, we have this epic scene here of the whole gang beating up
Oh, the meme, yeah.
a bit of a dick
I'm your friend, which are you?
The torture dance should be on here. If it's not, I'm gonna be very
Torture
sad.
dance-
squad,
Yeah.
and they're like,
I'll be
hey,
very
baby,
sad.
he's a stand user. And they all just beat the ever-loving
Abagio,
crap out of him.
join!
He's a regular civilian. You never see him again.
They can
It
be
means
like-
absolutely nothing to the plot. But the scene is so iconic, it became a meme. again from part 5, Giorno's
Yep.
7-page Muda. I'm sure you've heard this before.
Seven
The
page
7-page Muda, having no idea exactly what we're talking about. Well, imagine an attack where you're punching someone, and every 100 times or so, your stand punches the guy. He says Muda. And so he says, Muda, 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 and punches him 100 times. All right, that's all good. And now imagine reading a book, and 7 pages straight are just him punching the crap out of this dude, eventually launching him into a trash can that grinds him up into paste. Bro, overkill. In part 3, there was this dude who had to stand also, and he was hiding while his stand was doing all the fighting. He's hiding underground, and he has this little pipe sticking out of the underground so he could breathe. Here you got Avdol and Polnareff. They find the pipe. Polnareff is like, all right, now I'm going to kill him. I'm going to dig him up. I'm going to kill him, and that'll be it. Avdol's like, no, my friend. What better way to bond than to take a piss together? And they piss in his air pipe so he chokes on their urine. Overkill. Okay, listen, I'm just getting started. The next
That's pretty
JoJo
good.
scene I wanted to talk about, part 3 again, it was Jotaro versus
yes.
Steely Dan.
Jotaro.
Steely Dan's this dude. I don't want to explain what his power does because it's just going to be too confusing. But basically, Jotaro's pissed at him and also hits
Beats
him
the shit out
the
of him.
equivalent of a 7-page Muda, except after doing that, he launches him into a building and then writes him a receipt for how badly he got his ass whooped and gives him the receipt. Listen, overkill. Also, they just needed to punch him once, but no. Next overkill I wanted to talk about was the JoJo torture dance.
Go
Listen, there's this
to
dude,
the
and they were torturing him to get information out of him. So they take him, they unzip his head from his body. Listen, and his head is still alive, and his body's alive. This interdimensional Dullahan thingy, whatever. I don't want to explain it all to you, okay? JoJo's complicated, all right? JoJo's too complicated for you mere mortals. They put a fishing line through his eyelid and tie him to the side of a boat to watch while they put a magnifying glass by the sun to slowly burn his eyeball while all the people there are just dancing to wacky music. And they're all making the same dance moves, and they're dancing for... This is a 60-second animation stint, the JoJo torture dance. It's so beautiful. So
Iconic.
beautiful, and definitely overkill. Oh my god. The next JoJo scene I wanted to talk about was Angelo.
Yo, Angelo.
JoJo's part 4. So
Yo,
after they meet
Angelo.
He's this serial killer, rapist dude. Not a good fellow, obviously. And they finally kill him. They beat him. And instead of putting him in jail, incapacitating him, killing him even, they change his biology and turn him into a living rock. So that
I mean, technically, you should also put the book guy here as well. Because it's the same thing.
he can live for eternity in complete suffering and solitude, just watching the events of the town of Morio go by before his eyes, because that's all he could do. The rest of him is just stone. He'll just sit there for eternity watching the world go by. And every time throughout the entire season, the main character walks by that stone. He says,
Angelo.
Yo, Angelo.
Yo,
Dude,
Angelo.
overkill. Come on, man. Just put the man out of... No, not putting him out of his misery. No. And now, finally, I wanted to wrap things up with the JoJo ranting. This one really should be in the
Is it
top 10.
Dio?
I just kind of wanted to put all the JoJo ones together just for the sake of it. And I also, I almost want to put a legacy ban on Dio. I can't put him at the top of every list, man. Like, this is insane. Dio kills Jonathan's dog. No, that wasn't overkill. No. He put the dog in a box and put it in a furnace and let someone else light the furnace because it's a furnace. You light it. And it killed the dog. Then, this is after kicking the dog, he then beats up Jonathan and kisses his fiance in front of him, making him watch. And, dude, you can just keep going with the Dio shenanigans, so I'm just gonna stick to part 1 alone. Dio straight up takes a mother and her baby, turns the mother into a zombie, and then commands the mother to eat her own baby alive. Dude, what? Alrighty, we finally made it to the top 10. We passed the JoJo's Epic 9. We passed the other amazing overkills. Let's just keep running through him. Next, Mustang versus Envy.
Yeah!
Envy
That's
for
a good
killing his
fight.
friend.
My
So what does
favorite
he do?
one.
He will rain fire and hell and brimstone upon Envy.
Although, also just him
Angry.
versus Lust would be...
Lust was
would be-
good.
The Lust one would be
Those are the top two.
with Roy Mustang.
Angry.
Until Envy is suffering, squealing, crying, regenerating, burning again, until Envy eventually takes his own life due to the suffering imposed by Mustang. Next overkill, I got Madara
Yeah.
against the Alliance.
He's getting
For those of
bullied.
you that don't know, there was
Oui.
this massive war towards the end of Naruto. You got thousands of ninjas banded together. Madara drops in, beats thousands of ninjas in hand-to-hand combat. He doesn't use any of his jutsu. No. He just punches them thousands of them. Can you even imagine someone winning hand-to-hand combat with 1,000 people? Like, what? Then the 5 Kage run at him, and he's like, oh, sick, cool, yeah, cool, yeah, cool. He drops a meteor on them. They use everything they have to stop the meteor. He's like, cool, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, guys, yeah.
Cool, yeah. Then he drops another meteor.
Yeah.
It's like he could just keep
Fuck
going.
you, another one.
He could just keep going. And he does. He's like, all right.
Would you
guys
like
are
my
all pretty epic,
clones
so I'm
being
gonna make 20
Susanoo?
clones, and I'm going to have each of those clones also use Susanoo, and then all of those... And he obliterates them. He did not need to go as hard as he did. Next! Bro, we're just talking about the big 3 at this point. I got to
You got One Piece?
That's
hit the
bleach.
list for more.
Okay.
Maybe he'll just beat him in a sword fight.
Oh, he put Eminence in Shadow, and it should not be in the top 10.
Entry on my Twitter thread, so follow me on Twitter for more of that jazz. But anyway, in Eminence in Shadow, the main character is saving this
Oh, but
princess
this
who is
scene
captured.
goes hard,
So
though.
how does he do that? He's up
Hey,
against
if it goes
this
hard,
dude,
good behind.
Xenon, who's not nearly as strong as he is. Maybe he'll just beat him in a sword fight, cut his head off, and get it over with, I guess, right? It's just simple. Your goal is saving the princess. You just go there, you kill him with the sword, you save the princess. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No, he drops a nuclear bomb on him in point blank range.
Yep.
I'm not exaggerating. He literally does that. Like, you think I'm like, dude, no, nuclear bomb.
My man.
Metaphor for really powerful. No!
Atomic.
He drops an atomic bomb on him in point blank range. Anyway, the next scene that I have is from Hellsing Ultimate. We're talking about Alucard.
Yeah.
Hey.
I like when he shows up in middle of the army. All right, you got the
Level
fascist
0.
KKK white
Yeah, level
supremacist
Oh,
Christians
yes,
on one
this
side
scene's
against
so
the
fucking
zombie
good.
Nazi World War II fanatics on the other side. It's a rough day out here to be
Oh,
a
the
centrist,
flood,
okay?
yeah.
Work day in London.
You got the entire political spectrum of Twitter out here fighting in a massive war to wipe out the country. Alucard shows up, taunts both armies so much
What
that
you gonna
he
do?
individually is now both of their prime enemy. First of all, that is hilarious. And second of all, he summons the entirety of hell to kill them. Yeah, he brings hell up. So hell fights these armies and wipes them both out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to the top 5. The 5 biggest overkills in anime. And even if you disagree with my choices, I don't care even a little.
Doesn't matter,
because we're
man.
talking about Chainsaw Man. Slight spoilers, putting it out
I
there.
was gonna say,
spoilers.
one of these
At some
would need to be
point,
in
they
here.
fight against
'Cause
the
it's, like,
Eternity
super
Devil.
brutally
The
violent.
Eternity Devil has lots of crazy powers that, let's be honest,
That
don't
was
even
pretty
make
good.
sense within the scope of the Chainsaw Man world, but we don't care. We
The
watch
fight was
Chainsaw Man
good,
because
but
it's
the arc
awesome,
was not.
okay? It's awesome. So Denji
was
fights
boring.
this dude for 3 days straight, and he's slicing him to bits for 3 days straight until the Eternity Devil, this crazy, powerful, S-class, nutso, wacko, powerful devil dude, is like, you know what, dude? Here's my heart. I'm giving it to you now. I'm immortal, but I could let you kill me, and I am doing that, so you can make this end, please. And, well, he does. But it was one of the biggest overkills in anime, and it would be really unfair for me not to mention the fact that this dude fought Eternity and brought it to heel. Just saying. Next, Escanor versus
overkill
everyone
than
who fights
Ooh.
ever.
Come on.
Right?
It's a boy,
Fights
Escanor.
Esterosa, he drops the sun on him. He fights
Holy
Galand.
roast.
He turns Galand into stone by Galand fearing him so much. The fear alone kills Galand. Galand kills himself because his own power is if there's a lie, whoever lies loses, and he lies to himself. He runs away from a fight that he promises he will fight. Like, the dude, Escanor's chadliness alone kills
Ooh,
him so
son.
much that he kills himself with his own power. Next, overly cautious hero.
Is
That a lot of people haven't seen or heard of. I have seen it and heard of it. It's about this dude who is overly cautious. So when he gets summoned by the goddess to enter this alternate fantasy world so that he can save the world and fight the demon lord like every other fantasy, he's overly cautious and he's like, bro, this is important. I'm not just gonna go in there at level 1
shit,
and start at the starting
a
town.
slime.
No. So he does 1,000,000 push-ups and sit-ups. He gets himself to level 100 before even entering the starting town. And he walks in, and he's overly cautious, remember? So he sees a slime, you know, the weakest enemy that even the guy that is level 0, that guy could beat the slime. But he sees the slime. He hides behind a rock because, bro, you don't know what it could do.
holy shit, it's a
And he
slime.
unleashes these insanely high-level fire attacks. And he wipes out, like, the countryside just to kill this slime. And this was all in episode 1. And it's amazing.
Hellfire.
And the entire series
I don't give
is
a
just
fuck. That slime
how
could be
you
Rimuru.
could play any isekai
It could- yeah,
anime
it could be
if you were
Rimuru.
just
Chill out for
goddamn
that
smart.
bitch.
So he's overly cautious, and he overpowers and overkills every enemy he finds throughout the entire story. Next, we're talking about Ainz Ul Gaon from Overlord.
Ainz number
There are
two.
a lot
Yeah,
of big
baby.
moments in Overlord.
Overlord.
A lot I would go
Big
as far as to say.
flexer.
In fact, I did say that. But none are
What's
as
the
big of an
flex?
overkill moment as when Einzulgaun is up against an army of 100,000 people and uses half of them as sacrifices to summon these massive dark goat
The
dog
Death Knights.
monsters with
What?
a
No. Oh,
1,000
no,
mouths
those are
that
the
look
ones
they
that are
come
like...
out of Junji Ito's nightmares,
Ah,
so
those
that
things,
those
huh?
6 dog
Yeah, but they're
goat
like some
monsters
eldritch
can
horror.
eat and trample
Yeah.
and destroy the other half of the army. The whole scene
I've
is
seen
like
these
3
in
minutes, and
Naruto.
it's like it's the scariest thing you'll ever see. Then he just takes his mask off, and he's like, oh yes, look at his eye, the actual crazy undead lord Einzulgaun. Now clap for me! And then everyone who's sitting there in absolute terror, they're just like, oh, okay, I'll clap for you. And finally, the #1 biggest overkill scene in the history of anime, in my opinion, and yes, nostalgia plays a part, and yes, that is totally valid, because this is my list and I can do whatever I want, so self-expression is important, remember guys, live your best life,
It's
you
our
do
top
you,
scene.
all that jazz, leave a like on this video, subscribe, let me know if you want me to do another one kind of like this with different theme, because this was a lot of fun.
It's the only thing that makes me want to watch the
From
Japanese dub.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Fighting Weevil. You know, the legendary Duro Monstacado scene. Yeah, that one. I've looked through this entire list. So many amazing scenes, and none of them have that visceral reaction in me that the Yugi scene against Weevil. He's angry. He's up against Weevil. He uses this card that lets him attack every time he reveals a normal monster from the top of his deck. As you know, Yugi cheats in all his duels, and he
And
stacks
uses
his
his
deck
luck
to always have the cards
manipulation
he
to
needs.
always draw
So he
attack
has a whole
cards.
bunch of normal monsters at the top. So Duro Monstacado. And then as that monster attacks Weevil once again. And of course, since this is a card game with shadow magic involved, every time the guy actually gets hit by a monster card, it's like they actually get hit in real life. It was the Sword Art Online before Sword Art Online was a thing. If you die in the game, you die in real life kind of vibe.
Get shit to
10.
the cell, man.
And so he's out there, and he keeps hitting him. His life points are already 0, but he can keep attacking because he keeps
Monster
revealing monster
card.
card after monster card. And you see
Monster
him. This is
card.
therapy, okay? Watching
Monster.
Yugi torment this very short, pathetic man is therapy. So, ladies and gentlemen, get therapy if you need it. Beat up your enemies
Monster card.
and overkill them because it feels good. That is the moral lesson from this video. If anyone treats you badly,
He does this
if you
for
ever
like
want to take
3
revenge
minutes.
on someone, or if you just want to vent your frustrations, just take it out on someone you don't like. That's the moral here. So thank you so much for watching. Do not take any of the advice I gave in this video. Have yourself the most wonderful evening. Leave likes and subscribe. These are the 50 biggest overkills in anime. Let me know if you want me to do the 50 biggest massacres in anime next. Look, it's your call. I don't know if they're going to do more of these. It
Well,
depends if
why
this
don't
video
do-
does
why
well.
don't we do
Listen, this is not a charity. I just make videos because I like to. That's what I do. I'm like One Punch Man. I'm the hero for fun, but I make videos. Bye, guys. Love ya.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys like #1?
#1? I mean, I get that, but remember, this is a
You
subjective
legit
list.
uses his luck manipulation power that always draw monster cards.
I mean, like, some of these lists, I'm like, how are they, like, 30?
I don't know.
Monster cardo. It's not about scale, it's about impact.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you
And
guys
Monster
for watching this
Cardo,
video.
oh.
If you like the video, do the hell you want. It's not to me, it's up to you. And any thoughts for you guys?
Burn empty.
Bring empty. Head
All
foot.
right. Have a good one, boys.
Gonna be like-
Not enough monster.
No.
Monster.
Monster language.
Too much
Monster.
RAM, not enough dodge.
He added a new